Hey folks, this is Nico Winstead with Palisade Realty. I'm going to bring you the San Diego real estate market update as we approach the end of 2020. There's obviously been a lot of activity, a lot of changes, but what we're going to do in this video is look at the 5 key market indicators that professionals like myself and informed consumers are going to use in order to gauge where they're at in any given real estate market cycle. The first indicator is going to be median sales price, and as we're closing out the year, San Diego's median sales price is $735,000, which is a 15% year-over-year increase from where we were at the same time last year. The second indicator is going to be the number of home sales. And so what we're seeing as we're rounding out 2020 is that San Diego is up over 32% year over year from where we were at last year. Again, so over 32% more homes selling right now than as opposed to the same time last year. San Diego is sitting at about a 1.7 months of unsold inventory, which is showing a very strong seller's market. The same time last year, we were at over 3 months, which is showing more of a balanced market, not necessarily favoring buyers, not necessarily favoring sellers. But right now, if you're a buyer in this market, you're seeing a lot of competition. If you're a seller in this market, you're most likely seeing multiple offers on your property within the first about 7 days if it was priced correctly at the get-go. The third indicator that we also look at is going to be number of new home building permits. And if you're walking around your neighborhood, you're most likely seeing some renovations. You're most likely seeing some new homes going up. Depending on what town you're living in, you might also see some major developments taking place as well. Now, the new home building permits was the only indicator out of the 5 that's going to be showing a negative trend. We're down 1.6% from where we were at same time last year. That's not going to cause any alarm. It is an indicator showing a regression as far as values are concerned, but that indicator alone is not going to be enough to make property value drop over the next 6 months. The fourth indicator is going to be notice of defaults. And if we've been paying attention over the last really 8 months since coronavirus has taken place here in California, there's been a stay-at-home order. There's been shutting down of certain industries. Some folks aren't able to go to work and therefore not able to pay their bills, and therefore there's been a skyrocketing as far as the amount of foreclosures are concerned. Now, in a normal market, we can gauge the number of foreclosures as far as where we're at in the market cycle, whether that trend is going up, whether that trend is going down. It's going to give us a little bit of a navigation around that. But because we're not in a normal market right now, and because there is a forbearance in place, that indicator itself is essentially watered down at this point. There's a lot of people going through that process. And so if you or a family member are going through that process, the best recommendation that I can make is have a conversation with your lender. They don't want to have you go into foreclosure. It hurts their business. You most likely don't want to go through that process either. So having an open communication with your lender could definitely help provide some options of what to do with that. The fifth indicator that we look at is going to be interest rates. And as we're closing out the year, interest rates are at an all-time low. It's never been as low in the last 50, 60-year time frame that the feds have been essentially adjusting interest rates than it is right now. And so what that means is that rates, if you have excellent credit, if you can put 20% down, if you're going with the conventional loan, you can lock something in at less than 3%, which is amazing. But even if you don't have excellent credit, even if you don't have that much money to put down, what's happening because rates are so low is it's allowing buyers that wouldn't normally be able to get into the market to be able to have a little bit of wiggle room. So again, if you are in a position where you're considering buying something, even in the next 5 years, the best thing that could happen is that you contact a lender and you have a conversation with them around where you're at and what your options are. Because right now, folks are able to afford over 10% more home than they could this same time last year. And that 10% is a good chunk to where some folks are able to actually get into the market, whereas opposed to they would be out of the game the same time last year. So those are the 5 criteria that we look at. We look at median sales price, we look at number of home sales, we look at new home building permits, we're looking at notice of defaults, aka foreclosures, and we're also looking at interest rates. All of this summed up as we close out the year in 2020 in San Diego, there's a lot of competition. There's not a lot of inventory. San Diego's known to not have a lot of inventory, but especially right now with the amount of people jumping into the market as far as buyers and the low inventory that we have. There's a lot of demand, there's not a lot of inventory, and that's going to push the price up. So over the next 6 months, we can expect prices to rise, looking at these key indicators. As we go into 2021, that forbearance is apparently not going to be in place anymore. So we may see some inventory coming into the market. As we go into 2021, in order for the feds to make sure that essentially values don't get out of control, they may increase interest rates. We don't know that yet, but as we go into 2021, there is going to be some changes. If you are interested in buying in this market, I would say take advantage of the window of opportunity that you have now. Contact the professionals that you need to contact in order to work with. If you need questions answered from me, I'm more than happy to help you with that. If you're a seller in this market right now, or you're considering selling your house within the next 3 to 5 years, right now might be the best time to do that because of the amount of competition, because of the amount of buyers, and because of the fact that there is so little inventory. If you have any questions, feel free to give me a ring. This is Nico Winstead with Palisade Realty. Have a great holiday season.